Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some resume tips that could help you break into IT in 2025. Now when you look around online, you'll find a lot of tips for crafting your resume to get the best results. But in my experience, I can narrow it down to about 5 key areas that really helped me to grab the attention of an employer and get my first job in IT. Contrary to what you might think, you don't really need relevant work experience to break into your first entry-level role. Many people getting into tech are brand new to the industry. It is a booming industry and there are many people pouring into it at all times. So it is very competitive, but it isn't a lost cause. If you follow these resume tips, you'll be a lot better equipped to stand out amongst the huge crowd of people who are trying to get in. Simply put, presentation is key. You need to know how to present your skills, and you need to know how to lay out your strengths to really appeal to employers who are looking for people committed to learning and self-teaching. Now you may be wondering, where am I going to get experience to put on my resume if I don't have any professional experience in the field? There are actually a lot of free resources or low-cost resources you can find online to give you a little bit of experience in certain technologies and certain entry-level crash courses on certain things like Active Directory, utilizing Wireshark. Now, Wireshark's a little bit more advanced than entry-level, but it does help to provide an example of things that you're teaching yourself so that you can showcase to employers that you are committed to learning things on your own, and it shows a good sense of self-initiative as well as shows that you have the capability to look into problems and to find the answers to things that aren't immediately obvious. So being able to showcase that ability is really helpful. I can't recommend it enough. Please use the resources that you have available to you on the internet. Look around, find some low-cost resources on Udemy, Coursera, things like that, things that you think will help you get into IT. And if you guys are interested, I'll do a whole video on some resources that I used and other resources that I would recommend using to help leverage yourself as you try to get into tech. Now, this next tip is more of a general tip for creating a resume, but its importance can't be overstated. You have to keep your resume short. If you don't want your resume to be discarded by the applicant tracking system, ATS, you're going to want to keep your resume to 1 to 2 pages maximum. And unfortunately, you do have to play the game in order to not have your resume discarded. Usually the best idea for a resume is to keep the education section at the very bottom of the page. You really want to showcase your work experience and the key independent projects that you have done. Now, these are the self-taught resources that I use, such as courses on Udemy and Coursera, things that I thought would help me to showcase my own problem-solving abilities and my initiative to seek knowledge. Because when I first applied to my job, I only had about 3 months of contract IT experience. I never really had a full-time role, and I also didn't have very much time in the role that I was contracting for to really gain a depth of experience that would appeal to an employer. I found it a lot easier for me to find some resources online that would help me showcase my abilities and my desire to learn. Another key section for IT resumes in particular, or any certifications that you have. If you've got the CompTIA A+ certification, the Network Plus, or even the IT Fundamentals, you really want to make sure that you include that on your resume, because certifications, while they are not in and of themselves going to get you the job, they definitely do help. Another tip I would strongly recommend is to use strong active verbs as well as quantify your job experience. Any experience that you have, it could be retail, it could be any field, whatever your work experience was, think about what soft skills you gained from those roles and try to think about how that applies to the job that you're applying for. Something that immediately comes to mind for me is if you work in retail, chances are you have dealt with a lot of customers. So you want to think of examples of when you exhibited strong customer service skills and things that will apply to being in IT. In an entry-level help desk job, for example, you're going to be taking a lot of calls from clients and you're going to be resolving their issues in a timely manner. So being able to say that you are able to handle customers and able to communicate with them in an effective and polite way, very, very important. I can't overstate how important that is. So say in a previous role you worked in customer service and you primarily handled phone calls from clients and you want to showcase that for IT. Instead of saying answered many client calls, you could say something like managed an average of 30 plus daily inbound calls while consistently delivering exceptional customer service. That is a lot more interesting to read, and it also gives the employer a lot better idea of what you exactly did in your role and how that pertains to what you're applying for. Another section that I included in my own resume was the information technology competencies. And here I just kind of put the systems that I've worked with, mainly Microsoft Windows, and I've dabbled in a little bit of Linux as well. Networks that you're familiar with working in or configuring, WANs, LANs, things like that. And then you can just also just list out some skills that you've learned. On my resume, I listed things like Microsoft Windows Defender and Firewall, Active Directory, PC troubleshooting, customer service. I basically listed a laundry list of skills. My final tip to you guys would be to use AI to your advantage. Use ChatGPT. I recommend writing out your resume and then section by section go through and let ChatGPT help you bullet out your experience or whatever section you're doing. You could tell ChatGPT to use more active verbs, and it does a pretty good job of improving the wording and the overall structure of the resume. Now, you want to be a little careful. ChatGPT does like to get a little bit flowery and over verbose. So you want to kind of make sure that you don't lose your own voice in the resume. You want to really make sure it's just not overdone. Keep it simple, keep it short, but really make every best effort to showcase all of the strengths that you have and all of the experience that you think would be relevant to the job that you're applying for. Now, those were my tips for creating an effective resume to get into IT in 2025. Please let me know if you are interested in a video about some resources and courses that you can use online to really fill out that experience gap that you might have on your resume. Thank you guys for watching, and take care.